Hello everyone, I'm Melanie Cargill, Project Manager of Meistr Cymru. A very warm welcome to you all to this Meistr Cymru webinar on Marketing Masterclass and making the most of your marketing plans this Christmas. We're delighted to have Caroline Hannah from Authentic Marketing join us for this webinar. Caroline's worked with many food and drink businesses in Wales as well as large organisations. And she's got a wealth of knowledge and experience in this area. And so before I pass you over to Caroline, just a bit of housekeeping. If you would like to ask questions, and we very much welcome any questions, there's a facility at the bottom of your page, a Q&A feature. If you click on that, you can ask questions throughout the webinar, and we'll pick them up at the end, and we'll try and answer as many as possible in the time limit that we have. And there'll also be an evaluation form at the end, and we'll be really grateful for you to fill that in for us as well. So I'm now going to pass you over to Caroline so she can cover the main segment of this afternoon session. Thank you, Caroline.
Lovely, thank you very much, and thank you for joining this webinar. I'm just going to share my presentation so that everyone can see it. I'll put it onto the big screen. So yeah, I'm Caroline Hannah. I'm looking forward to taking you through some simple tips and hints and ideas really on how to tackle marketing, and specifically, you know, some ideas on towards the end of the seminar about marketing activities around Christmas. So firstly, I wanted to lay out, I'm just going to put myself on stop the video and then I can talk you through it. Firstly, I wanted to lay out what we'll be covering today. So I'm planning to spend about 40 minutes presenting to you, and then we'll have, you know, as Mel said, lots of time at the end for questions, and if you've got them, then just type them into the Q&A. So it's obviously going to be a bit of a whistle-stop tour of marketing and digital marketing, but I'll try and go into detail where possible so that you can get some valuable learning really by the end of this session. So we're going to be going through the following areas. So initially we're going to start by looking at why you'd choose to use digital marketing. I think, you know, these days it's so important. So we're going to spend a bit of time talking about why you use digital marketing, and then maybe dig a bit into identifying your target consumer. So thinking about who it is that you're trying to speak to, what your brand stands for, what your unique brand position is within the market. And then I've got some ideas on devising a simple marketing plan. And then finally, we'll look into ideas for Christmas campaigns, and we'll also run through a quick how to use a piece of software called Canva, which is free to use, but is a really, really useful and simple tool for creating social media and digital content. So hopefully there's quite a lot in this seminar, and it's broader than purely the digital, because with all marketing, you really have to think about who your consumer is and what it is that you stand for. So I'll start off by talking a little bit about digital marketing. So obviously these days it's becoming pretty obvious that, you know, physical retail isn't always possible. So as we can see from these stats, online shopping and online presence is absolutely crucial in order to appeal to your consumers. So we've got 17.2 million Brits planning to switch permanently to online shopping. And these are things that were pre-COVID. So driving traffic to your website is really important. And then I thought this stat was really interesting here on the right-hand side. On average, people scroll through 90 meters of online content. So this was measured pre-COVID. So it's likely to be even higher now. And when we talk about digital advertising or social media advertising, it's trying to find that content that really means people will stop scrolling. So it's something that really stands out for them. So I think we need to think about that throughout the conference now. There's also some really useful advantages of digital marketing compared to traditional marketing. So I think, you know, it can be very cost effective. It is something that as business owners you can do yourselves. But it does need you need to take some time to develop the strategy and think about what it is that you're trying to do. If we look a little bit more into the idea of digital marketing and why social media content is so important for brands, the whole point of social media is to build awareness for your brand. So this is achieved by getting people to engage with your posts and therefore your brand. To go over some of the key definitions, so engagement is either a comment, a like, a share, any kind of interaction. And then the reach is the amount of unique timelines your post is viewed on. So basically, reach, lots of people seeing your posts is the aim, but engagement or interaction is how you achieve it. So when you're posting content, it's really important to think about how engaging that content is. That means that someone's either going to like, share, comment, and then that's the bit that's going to get you the additional reach. So just to follow up on that, another example, each person who likes your page opens up a huge amount of potential customers through their friends, followers and connections. So if we look at this, if your page is liked, has 30 likes on Facebook, this could open up to a potential 10,000 customers. And that's basically because your page will, each person's page on average will have about 330 friends who might see your page through their friend or follow your page as a result of seeing it on someone else's page. So I think as you're thinking about the posts, it's not just about the number of people who like it, but it's the number of people that gets you access to, which is the reach. And then if we go on to the next section, this is, so when we're talking about finding content that people like, we really need to understand the consumer that you're trying to appeal to. So they, you know, you need to understand what makes them tick, what, you know, how they think, what's going to make them laugh, what's going to make them engage. So we'll start with some typical marketing sort of practice, which is to look at your target consumer. I'm just going to scroll on to the next page. So yeah, identifying your consumer. So digital marketing is vital. We want to understand how to appeal to the right audience to build your brand. It's so important to identify your target consumer so that you can create content online which appeals to them, and also builds a clearer picture of who your audience is. So I've done some work within the food industry that looks at identifying, you know, you can call them different things, so target consumers or consumer tribes or demographics, or it's made up of a number of things, but within the food industry, these 6 are really quite helpful. So you've got the adventurers, so people who experiment with food, they're the first to follow trends. They like new, fresh ideas, and they often look to bloggers or chefs for inspiration. They're not afraid to try something new. So that's the adventurer. And then you've got the food lovers, so people who know how to cook and enjoy ingredients. They seek out quality and provenance in food. Celebrations and socializing often center around food. They see food as a treat. Move over to the right-hand side, you've got the healthy shopper. So those are people who search out foods and drinks to aid and encourage great well-being and positive health. They have knowledge and tenacity to find health qualities in foods. So they're the ones who are going to turn the label over, have a look at the ingredients content, be much more sort of tuned into the nutritional makeup of those products. Then you've got the busy lifestyle, so people who look for solutions which are easy to prepare. They're driven by meal convenience. They're looking for shortcuts, but they're not willing to compromise on quality. Tight budget, people who look for lower cost and higher return in food. They shop based on price over other values such as quality or provenance. And, you know, we can't get away from the fact that there are a lot of people who do have a tight budget. And then finally, the traditionalists, and we probably in Wales have more traditionalists just because of the age profile of our population, but people who have a repertoire of meals which they repeat week in, week out. So they've got their list, they know what they're making, they know what they like, and they normally stick to it. They're often the people who will buy local food from established brands which they can trust. So that's a snapshot really of different consumer types, and quite often you might find that your brand appeals to one or two or three of these different consumer types. And then I'm just going to think about, so if we then look at the food lover in more detail. So I've just taken this to the next level of targeting. So these are the people who know how to cook and enjoy ingredients. They seek out quality and provenance. So here we're looking at the food lover consumer. On the left-hand circle, we have recipe books, chefs that they might engage with. In the middle circle, we've got the possible family of food and drink brands that they might buy or might be in their shopping basket. So we're starting to build a more detailed picture of who that consumer is. And then on the right-hand side, we have social media accounts, which they might follow or engage with. So it's really adding layers of sort of understanding of who your target consumer is, because then when you plan your comms, you can plan them according to what those people are looking for, essentially. And you also have opportunities to team up with other brands that kind of make sense both to you, but also to your consumer. So I've put in an example here from within your industry of Meistr Heritage, who are a really great example of a company that stands for something, but also works with other partner brands that have similar brand values to them. And together they can offer something even better to the consumer. So their box is full of all these other partner brands, but also when you're thinking about them online, they can partner up with these guys and then they can get their message out even further, offer the consumer more things that they like and that are complementary. So I think they're doing a fantastic job of creating that added value through partnership and understanding their consumer. So once you've got this picture of who your target consumer is a little bit more clearly, you can then start to think about where your brand fits with that. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about sort of the marketing positioning and strategy behind positioning your own brand. So developing your unique brand positioning. Now this is really, it's about being able to identify what makes you unique. You have to understand the surrounding brand landscape. So who your competitors are. I'd recommend, if you haven't done it already, doing some research into who your competitors are, understanding where they're moving in the market, what their consumer base is like, and what sort of new products they're releasing. Then you'll be in a better position to understand what sets you apart from the rest. And once you're clear on what sets you out from the rest, it's then deciding how to then convey your brand in a tone of voice in order to engage with people on the same sort of mission. So I'm going to talk you through an example of a brand positioning map. This is something that in the past few years I've used with, I'd say, probably getting to hundreds of different brands throughout Wales and beyond. And really it sets out in one page everything that really your brand stands for. So just going to have a quick sip of water. If you look on the left-hand side, those are all the external factors. So these are all the things that are kind of outside the brand. So it's understanding who your target consumer is, which we went into a bit more detail. And then thinking a little bit about that target consumer. If it was your biggest fan and advocate, what would they say about you? So almost kind of looking at the feedback that you get and just, or imagining what your target consumer, your best consumer would say about their experience of dealing with you and your brand. The competitive context, obviously that helps you figure out what makes you different or better. And then on the right-hand side, it's all the sort of internal factors. And this is always about maybe not where the brand is now, but where you'd like to be in the future. So it's future focused and aspirational. So you've got products now, but also what you might think about releasing or doing in the future. And then things like personality and style, that's about the tone of the brand, really digging into what are the functional benefits that your brand stands for and how does that make the consumer feel? Because we all buy brands for more than just rational reasons. You know, the brands we love for a reason, and it's beyond rational. So for example, I love Molton Brown. I know that I can get a shower gel or a hand soap that is way cheaper, but it's that experience you get and the emotional connection that you get, that you're doing something to treat yourself every day. And then looking into things like brand values, so that tends to be ethical, sustainable, renewable, those sort of values. And then the bit in the middle works as a thought process. So the key insight is the hurdle or the barrier that you're trying to help the consumer overcome. The brand differentiator is obviously the thing that makes you different or better. And then the bit in the middle, which is the essence, is, that's the DNA. It's if your brand was, for example, a stick of Brighton Rock or Tenby Rock, what would be the 2 or 3 words that are written all the way through? And I've used this so many times with different food businesses, because once you kind of set your strategy out on one page when it comes to the branding, it just means that everything that you communicate becomes easier. Your decision process becomes a lot easier because you know exactly what it is that you stand for. So we'll go through a quick example so that you can see how this might work. So here, this is a brand that's quite unique really within this industry, I think, but this is the Black Farmer brand. So you think about some of the messaging and what this brand stands for. So you've got flavors without frontiers. I will not be confined by race, convention or tradition. I have strong opinions on issues such as rural affairs, justice for small producers and giving young people more opportunity. So really it's a brand that stands for something. So I started to look at how their brand positioning might work, and I've just given a few examples of some of the boxes. So in terms of the personality and style of this brand, it's genuine, it's friendly, it's passionate, it's purpose-led, it's consumer-centric, it's quirky, it's passionate. So I've got passionate twice. I know I have personable and passionate. So it's got a very defined kind of personality. Then what are the functional benefits? What does it stand for? It stands for good quality meat with known origin and welfare standards. You've got your gluten-free options. You've got the online box delivery service. These are all functional benefits. And then emotional benefits, you get that sense of confidence, reassurance, connection. And looking at their brand values, so things like community, sustainable, ethical, and obviously the racial diversity in farming is a massive point for them. So the key insight might be something, the consumer might say something like, the best meat produce has a story behind it and farming values which I want to support. So that's the thing that might motivate them to buy into this brand. And then what makes this brand different or better is the fact that it is about diversity in British farming, and it's got strong brand behind the founder that kind of founded the business. So that's just peeling off like one layer. There's obviously lots more that goes into defining your brand positioning. But I just thought it'd be useful before we get into the detail of digital and social is to take a step back and think, right, what does my brand stand for? What's the unique selling point? How am I different or better to any other brands out there? So once the sort of brand positioning is in place, I'm now also going to show you a very, it's bread and butter marketing. So it's the classic marketing that, we always use. It's the 6 marketing P's. So the 6 marketing P's of, there have been 4, then there's 5, and some people use 7 because they add another box that talks about people. But these are the 6 that I tend to stick to because I find it really useful. So the 6 marketing P's of product, packaging, price, place, promotion, and partnership. And I thought what would be useful is just for you to see an example of the 6 marketing P's that's been filled in for a meat or a pork company. And then it kind of gives you a starting point to think about your own 6 marketing P's. So in terms of product, this is just a kind of made up brand. But anyway, this is just some ideas. So in product, you'd list things like, what you're selling. So fresh pork meat, sausages, bacon, chops, joints, meat subscription boxes. And you might split it into what you do now and what you'd want to do in the future. So now and future. In terms of packaging, obviously everything these days is about recyclable. It's about having different sizes. It's a selection of packaging. It's the best pork selection. It's trying to find those key points that the consumer is going to be really mindful about these days. Then looking at the pricing, obviously setting a recommended retail price, understanding how that fits within your competitive context. And then place basically means where, routes to market, where you're going to sell it. So direct to consumer, either through your website or on site through butchers, or maybe it's retail, or maybe it's farm shops, or maybe it's markets. There's all kinds of different options. And then when you get into retail, it could be, you know, different chains. It could be Tesco's, Morrison's. It could be smaller independents. It's just really trying to define your strategy in terms of the 6 marketing Ps. And it's probably something that's updated on an annual basis. So you say, right, for the next 12 months, this is our 6 marketing Ps. You set some KPIs, some key performance indicators, and then you look at it again the following year and you say, right, okay, what's changed? What's different? Which way are we going to go for the next 12 months? And then promotion. Promotion is in the broader sense of promotion. So it's not just a buy one, get one free kind of promotion. It's everything from your logo, your branding, your leaflet, your digital marketing, your Christmas campaigns, your website, your lockdown giveaways. So those are the offers that you might do on lockdown. But again, it's about trying to identify which elements of what we call the marketing mix are relevant for you in order to sell your brand and to increase your sales. And then partnership, we had that example from Medlin Heritage where, you know, they've got a great selection of partners, but, you know, subscription box scheme, which partners with other producers to create meal kits maybe. I mean, that's another massive thing, isn't it, at the minute, is having all your ingredients delivered with a recipe so that you can just cook it at home. Or it might be that you put the complementary stuff in with your products, so the chutneys, the mustards, the wine, the Welsh wine, hopefully. And so really this, going back to bread and butter marketing, which is simple marketing tools, the 2 that I've shown you so far would really give you a strategic sort of outlook on which way to go with your communications. And then once that's done, it's okay, we've figured out who we're trying to speak to, what we stand for, what our proposition is. So the 6 marketing Ps is about the proposition overall. So then you can look at things like the social media calendar. So I've done an example of a simple social media calendar with events, dates, channels, and then the column at the end is kind of the status. So is it drafted? Is it planned? You know, has it launched? You can also add things like posting times or other statistics, you know, like the number of followers and likes per post. And you can measure the success of your social presence, but it all comes back to planning again. It's kind of spending the time to do the planning so that you can upload it ahead of time, and then you can analyze what works and then what doesn't work. It's quite a good starting point. Obviously, you know, you need to think about sort of the different events that might happen throughout the year, such as national and international days that, you know, can really underpin your social media calendar. And then there's so much that you can do in terms of measurements. I'm going to go into a bit more detail in the next few slides on all the different channels. So we've got creating engaging content for social media this Christmas. So this is the main sort of last thrust of this seminar, really, is to go into this in a bit more detail. We're going to look at some of the best practice tips for brands on social media and how you can create content which your followers want to engage with. And it's back to that thing of, how do I make my content engaging? And how do I make it aimed at the target consumer that I want to get, or that I think would like to buy into my brand, my story, what I stand for? So here's just some general social media best practice, really. This is for you to consider, really. So which social media channels is your brand best suited to? So is it an audience who's over 55 female? Facebook, definitely. Is it a slightly younger audience? Instagram. Are you trying to get some business to business sales? Twitter. It's just trying to make those right decisions. Do you think you could offer some corporate gifting? Maybe you could use LinkedIn. So these are, again, the sort of fairly straightforward tips, but basically got to make sure that people can get from your social media to your website easily. Content's key. It needs to be reliable, informative, interesting, aesthetically pleasing, and also up to date, because if someone goes onto your sort of Facebook or your Instagram and it hasn't been updated for a few months, and they're going to lose confidence, they're going to move on, they're going to want to have a conversation with someone else online. I touched on this a minute ago, but you can pre-schedule your posts, so you don't have to post in real time. I'm sure everyone's aware of that. You can schedule, you know, from Hootsuite. And then this thing about beating the algorithm. So basically the algorithm changes, but the key ingredient is the more people who interact with your posts, so like, comment, save, tag, the more likely it is to be visible to other people. So for example, current Instagram algorithms favors posts that don't use the Instagram filters, and engagement is measured by saves and comments, not necessarily likes. So, you know, keeping up with it can be quite a thing, but if the key is engagement, then you know that you need to create content that people are going to react to, really. We've got things like competitions. That can be a good way of getting engagement for people to discover your brand. So tag, like, share, spreading the word. And then really organising your social media channels. But finally, don't forget to interact with other brands. Now that's especially the ones that have got similar values to you. It can be quite a kind of beneficial two-way thing. If you've got something to offer them and they've got something to offer you, and then together you come together and you've got a better conversation, you're having a conversation with them, you're talking to them, you're looking at what they're posting. You're not just always posting stuff that's about you. You're looking to see what someone else has posted. You're sharing that and you're engaging with the conversation. It's all about engagement. Got some top tips on Facebook. Apologies if everyone knows about this already, but so Facebook shop, add a Facebook shop to your page with Commerce Manager. Now that's really important. People like to just click straight from and buy straight from Facebook. So tag your products using the Facebook shop features. So if you do a post, then make sure you tag your products in the photos and add the shop now button to your posts, because then people can just, it's about the minimal number of clicks, isn't it? We're all used to that now. We've got our phones there. If we want to buy something, we want to get to that thing as soon as possible. And then people quite often say, well, how often should I post? Well, really, posting more than once a day on Facebook doesn't make sense. It's better to do less, but do it really well and make it really engaging. So between 3 to 5 times a week is a good number. Don't just post promotional material all the time. So you need to share interesting posts from other people, things that are relevant to your page. And then that way you add value to other people's feeds, giving them information, not just the hard sell. And again, I'm sure many of you have heard this already. So make sure, finally, housekeeping and insight. So make sure there's a link on your website to your page and there is contact information that's clearly visible. Facebook has really detailed insights. You can use them. They're very straightforward. Check to see when the best time of day to post is from your insights, when more followers are online. Check to see what sort of post performs well. So it's back to that spreadsheet. So I'm just going to have a drink. It's very strange just talking at a screen. So it's going back to that spreadsheet really and saying, right, well, I posted that. What kind of engagement did I get? So it's spending the time to plan it and then evaluate what works. And then, you know, you might want to do stuff for seasons. So you might want to have a new cover photo that changes with the season. So for example, for Christmas, just keeping it up to date with fresh content really. And then if we look at Instagram, obviously link Facebook and Instagram pages together. Make sure they're linked so that you can manage both pages, and it means, you know, it allows all features to function, because obviously they're all kind of add your Instagram as a source channel for your Facebook Commerce Manager. And you can't put links in post captions on Instagram, but you can tag the product using the Commerce Manager. And you can direct people to your bio when they can leave a link, where you can leave a link for your website. So housekeeping and insights on Instagram. Check your insights to see when the best time is to post. Same thing again. Make sure you have a clear bio description. Don't forget to add stories as well in the main feed posts. Spend some time engaging with people through the platform each day, like, comment, follow. So build your audience, build your like-minded brands, start a conversation with them, and also check out the new Reels feature. It's quite fun and engaging feature, and it, you know, it's got the potential, because it's quite new, to have quite a wide reach on Instagram. So if you haven't done it before, then check out the Instagram Reels page. And then specific for Christmas. So if we think about Christmas, which is really nearly upon us, I know. So there was something that was really popular. So there was banana bread, because during the last lockdown, everyone went mad on banana bread, you know, cooking and recipes, using, you know, use this to your advantage as a food brand. People like recipes. They like having something for free. They'll engage with it, especially with more time on their hands. So anything that's related to recipes is really quite useful. So start early. Obviously, we need to start as soon as possible in the next week or so. If you've not already started, which I'm sure a lot of you have. Reply to customers. So obviously Facebook's global holiday data shows that 65% of Christmas shoppers indicated they would be more likely to buy from businesses that they can contact through a messaging service. So that's quite a useful tool that you can use on social media. And then create the valuable content that they're looking for. So especially during lockdowns, we're talking about this banana breads and this recipe idea. And make it personal. People buy into people and values that they see, especially this year, you know, when we want to support local. And there's this little thing on, I think it's Instagram, isn't it, where you've got the support local, support small business logo. That's something which Instagram's introduced, and you know, you can add it to your stories. It shows that people want to interact specifically with small businesses. So it's quite a useful little tool to have, this small support small business, because you know, people who want that will know that you're their kind of brand, really. You're kind of their kind of business. And then these were just some thoughts, really. So you've got advent calendars or product reveals, spotlight. Write your products on a letter to Father Christmas and take a photo, so you could handwrite it. You could do some live carol singing. You could donate to charities. You could have some Christmas recipes using your products. You could have a best dressed Christmas tree competition. You could do the Instagram quite often, you know, those live cook-alongs. If you're a dab hand in the kitchen, then why not show someone how to cook one of your products? You could do a poll about Christmas traditions. You know, you could even say, well, you know, what about pork at Christmas? You could find out. It's just about starting the conversation and asking questions, and then making it engaging and visually appealing. It's really important to sort of get that eye-catching, light-hearted sort of feel to it. And I think we're doing okay on time. I was going to spend just a few minutes, really. I don't know how many of you have come across a tool called Canva. It's basically, Canva is a platform which you can sign up to. You know, you sign up to it for free. You can also pay for premium, but most of the time, most of the crucial features are actually included in the free version. So I was going to just stop sharing, and then I'll share Canva, and I was going to show you how to create an advert on Canva, and then we'll come back into the presentation to finish off, if that's okay. So I'll stop sharing here, and then I'll just pull up my browser so that you can see the Canva app, which hopefully everyone can see now. And then we'll just do a simple Facebook advert, for example. So on the right hand side here at the top, you've got create a design, and then you've got all kinds of different things that you can do. So you can do an ad, but we'll create a Facebook post. So if you click on Facebook post, then the beauty of Canva is, because all the different platforms, obviously, they have different specifications in terms of the shape of the image, and unless you use something that tailors it, then sometimes something that works on Facebook won't work on Twitter. But this tool really helps you to do specific adverts for the different social media channels. So this is the blank sort of document, which is the shape that a Facebook post would be. And then there's different options. So you can either go into the photos section, which I think I might have searched earlier on, but you can search the photos section. And if we just said pork within the photos section, let's see what comes up. So we've got various options on pork, and some of them are free and some of them are pro. So if they're pro, then they tend to cost about $1 each. So they're not a massive amount of money, but So if we took this photo, which I think is Pro, and so it might have a watermark, you just pinch the corners and it resizes it kind of pretty well by itself. And then if you just wanted to add your logo, what you'd do is you go to the section that says uploads and you'd say upload media. And then you'd say either from Google Drive or your device or wherever it is that you're storing the media. And then you'd upload it into the upload section, which would mean that you could add it to this photo. I'm trying to see if I've got any. These are a mixture of different other brands. There's some Carrie Cymru heart frames there. So basically you just then add your logo in, and if you wanted to put some text on it, so for example, I might want to put a phrase Merry Christmas. Let's go for Merry Christmas. And then it will suggest some different templates for you to use. My internet's on and go slow. So if we just pulled the Merry Christmas font over here. I pulled it over about 3 times because my internet is so slow. That's what happens when you live in Pembrokeshire. So there we go. And then if I just take that, scroll it there, I want to obviously reduce the size because it's too big. So I just do that, and you've added your brand logo, and then you can add some comments. So there's so many things. I mean, I'm really just showing you a real glimpse of the tiniest amount of things that can be done. But then the beauty is once you've done that, you just download it either as a PNG or a JPEG. So if it's for online, then PNG is fine. Download it. And then you can save it and load it to your social media. So I think Canva was a massive eye-opener because whilst I'm a marketeer, I'm not a designer. I don't really understand in design or Photoshop, and it just makes creating content really, really simple. So I'm going to stop share here because there was something else that I prepared earlier on that didn't take very long. It just took sort of 10 minutes or so. And it's just to show you the capability within Canva is quite good, and it's free of charge and it's good fun. You can start to build your brand comms through it. There's loads of stuff there in terms of animating things and card templates and all kinds of things, but this is one that is one I made earlier, sort of thing. It just gives a bit of movement. It gives a bit of content. If you don't want to go to a designer, it's I would suggest that if you were going to use Canva, then you try and really sort of create your brand look and feel within Canva with colours and themes, and then just stick to it. And it gives you this quick and easy, simple platform that can make your page look really professional. So I think that's come to the end of my initial talking bit, if that's okay. I think we've covered about 40 minutes, and I guess we'll now go to questions, or did you want to go through your stuff first, Mel?
Oh, hi Caroline. Yeah, if you're happy just to put our slide, that would be brilliant, and then we can.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah.
Perfect, and then we can go on to Q&A.
Sure. Thank you.
Brilliant. Perfect. Yeah, there's just 1 or 2 things that I just want to quickly run through, just to make you aware of certain support that's available through Mentor Cymru that's relevant to this area. So you may already be aware that Mentor Cymru can provide designers time to produce branded materials. So although Canva is fantastic to use and really useful for sort of ad hoc sort of social media posts and things, there may be time where you feel that you do need the input of a designer, maybe something that's more long term, something that you'll be using for a while for your branding, for example, and also maybe in a different format that Canva doesn't support. So it could be packaging or labels or other graphics for your websites and things like that. So I'm really pleased to announce that as of Friday, Mentor Cymru has increased the funding that's available for businesses in Wales. So it was £500 and now that's increased to 750. So that's £750 worth of a designer's time to really get hands-on and produce some branded materials to help you sell more of your products. There's more information on the website, and or also just get in touch with us. In terms of other marketing support that's available, we have been working collaboratively with Hubby Cymru for a number of years now on producing seasonal recipe leaflets and cards. So great that it taps into what you were saying, Caroline, about recipes are really important and valued by customers. So there's a range of recipe flyers and cards that are available free for you, and also you can access them online as well. So we've done all the hard work of developing the recipes, really tapping into consumer trends, whether that's different flavors, certain world flavors, or the amount of time that consumers are spending on cooking. There's a range of different recipes out there, so please get in touch with us and we can make sure that you get them whenever we release some new point of sale. And also a date for your calendar, or rather your social media planner, if you're following Caroline's advice. Again, we'll be working with Hubby Cymru on the Pork from Wales Week, which is in January. Last year, we've been running it for a few years now, and last year we really got a lot of engagement from producers and businesses, so it really magnified the work and the campaign that we were doing. So this year, again, we'd encourage you to get involved. We'll be sending out marketing toolkits and point of sale ahead of that week. So yeah, please get in touch if that's of interest to you. If you could click on to the next slide, please, Caroline.
Sure.
Lovely, thank you. And then this is just something Welsh Government, it's a new service Welsh Government are providing. It's to encourage people to incorporate Welsh into their marketing and their business communication. So what we're seeing, especially in the value of Welshness research that Welsh Government conducted, is that consumers do value the use of Welsh or the reference to Welsh in brand communication and business communication. So there's a free service that's recently launched where you can have your materials, whether that's information for your website, flyers, pricing lists, anything, you can get translated free, up to 500 words a month. So it's something that's really useful. I know a lot of businesses are using it for their social media platforms. So yeah, something that's absolutely free and can perhaps help you access some new customers as well.